So you ended up getting some work with WWF in '96 on Superstars, and then segued into a developmental deal with WCW. Can you describe how that process played itself out?
Yeah, the place I started my training with, they just they had that connection um, with WWE. I can't even remember the actual connection, but um, my guys were a group of guys that they would anytime the WWE was I don't even want to say the area because there was a lot of traveling involved, but when they needed some enhancement guys, they would call, and the guys I trained with, they were on very frequently on uh, on the WWE programs like Superstars, and so they had asked me about it one time, and I guess in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I don't want to make that, you know, as far as I go. I just didn't want to have the name of doing that. And I confided in a couple people about it, and I thought, you know what, it's a great experience, and I was encouraged to do it. So yeah, I went with them for. I just did it one trip, and I had two matches. Ironically, it was with Farouk and Bradshaw separately when they were doing their singles. And but yeah, it was just such a great experience. I got in there, and I was only, let's see, I started my training in '94, debuted in '95, and this was '96. So I wasn't, very long in the business. But yeah, it was just a great experience to be able to work with those guys and to, see how the big company worked, and at least, as much as I could for the placement that I was. Um, but yeah, I just continued on the indies and did my thing and just trying to get as much experience as I could. That led me. I'm from Kentucky. That led me to Nashville, which Nashville has always been a great wrestling town. And I started working frequently down there for Burt Prentice. He was the promoter down there, and started working for him a lot. Well, he had the connections with a number of people, but Terry Taylor was in charge of talent relations at the time for WCW, and this was the year well, the end of '99, 2000, um, and so we kind of know where WCW was headed at that point. But they were looking for to bring some guys in, and still trying to do what they could to survive. And so yeah, through that connection, they contacted Bert, and through Terry Taylor, we a group of us would come in, and majority of the work was security. We do security on Nitro and Thunder, but then the other shows we were actually getting some work. So we were getting some matches. We did a lot of the WCW Saturday night matches, and then on Sunday was their WCW Worldwide.
Mm.
So I was getting a lot of work with that, and I got to work with some amazing guys to get in the ring with. And so I look back on that as just such a great experience to be able to work with those guys and be able to do it with WCW because they were looking to push new talent. So I got to know a lot of people that were involved in that process. Jimmy Hart was heavily involved in that, and then Mike Tenay, Scott Hudson were the commentators, and so they played a part in that. And I obviously got their attention because I carried on a relationship with Tenay onto TNA, but well, also Scott Hudson, he was there with us for a while. But yeah, just a great experience, and I was very lucky to have that the WWF experience earlier in my career. But this now I had about 5 years under my belt, and so I was really looking to do something. And so I worked most of 2000 like that, and then in October is when they offered me a contract, and it wasn't even a developmental. I mean, it was a regular contract, and that was offered to me, and so of course, I jumped on that and signed with WCW in October, and it's just such a huge accomplishment. At least that time, it was just the big two. That's where you needed to go to do something to make some money, and to be able to sign with WCW was just a huge accomplishment for me, and I was so excited. And who would have thought 6 months later, one of the big two companies goes out of business, or
Mhm.
gets sold, just something you never think of. And so, yeah, man, that was a crushing blow. I had really high hopes, and But then it's, then just makes you fight harder.